And welcome.
A little technical difficulties.
Welcome to the Burgundy Zone. This is a brand new episode. Brand new episode.
Really?
Yeah. Sorry, OBS just crashed on us, everybody. Welcome into the Burgundy Zone. I am Kyle, joined by Mike Hall.
Once again.
Happy Friday, everybody, and we have breaking news for you. We will get to that, but first, we were just, before OBS crashed, we were just talking about Russell Westbrook, the blockbuster trade between the Rockets and the OKC, sending Russell Westbrook to Houston to meet with James Harden again. Mike and I had just talked about, we thought that I thought the Thunder should have moved Russell Westbrook instead of letting James Harden walk to the Rockets. I thought they would have had a championship by now. Mike thinks...
You know what's crazy? I just remembered this little tidbit too. The reason they let James Harden walk was a difference of $4 million. He wanted $4 million extra on his contract, which I think it was like a 3 or 4 year deal. So I don't know if it would have been $1 million per year or just $4 million every single year. But either way, you let a potential, well, like I said, hindsight's always 20/20.
Yeah.
But you let a potential, the best six man in the league at the time, walk away because you didn't want to pay him an extra $4 million.
I would honestly say that's probably one of the worst GM decisions since Champ Bailey.
At that point, it was the owner's decision because he didn't want to pay the luxury tax.
I think that was one of the worst decisions since Champ Bailey. I think it's similar.
Yeah.
They let a guy walk who ended up being one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL for years. Let him go for a running back that only lasted 5. Yeah. And then you let go of James Harden, who was going to be the MVP.
But again, hindsight's always 20/20.
Well, I understand.
But important at the time was probably a top 3 running
But at the time in the NBA, the scouting report on James Harden was this: like that guy was legit. When he was the 6th man coming on, they didn't have to worry about anything. They didn't need Russell out there. They didn't need KD out there. James Harden dominated when he was on the court. There was a reason why he was the best 6th man in the league. Yeah. He was legit. That was one of the worst decisions. I still stand by that to this day. I will say I think that the Thunder would have been better off with KD and Harden going forward if they would have made that decision. They would have gotten a lot in return for trading Russell Westbrook instead of letting James Harden walk for free. Yeah. But now CP3's out of the picture in Houston. Add now Russell Westbrook. Are they now a legit contender, the Houston Rockets? Do you think it'll work? No. I don't.
I just think they're going to be the same as they've been. They'll be a top 4 seed in the West, but maybe get to the Western Conference Finals, but they're going to run into the Clippers or, dare I say, the Utah Jazz, maybe?
Yeah. No, the Utah Jazz is the up-and-coming team right now. Everyone is talking about the Utah
on top
Jazz.
Of that, Portland made a good move by getting Hassan Whiteside.
Yep, they did.
I
wanted the Wizards to go after Hassan Whiteside. I've been talking about it since last year. They were out on it. It sucks, but it is what it is.
So, I mean, between Portland, Utah on the come-up, LA is going to be in the mix just because it's LeBron and AD. And most likely CP3 will be running the point guard for the Lakers at some point this year. And what is that? Clippers, Lakers, Portland, and Utah. So they'll be 4th or 5th ranked in the West. They could easily make kind of a playoff run. But again, I don't see them getting past the Western Conference Finals if they even get there.
No, we got to talk about the Clippers. Yeah. Now Kawhi Leonard going to the Clippers with Paul George.
Let me just say also about Kawhi Leonard. Move over LeBron. There's a new big boss in the NBA. His name is Kawhi the Claw Leonard.
Yeah, because we have to talk about this for a fact, right? Kawhi Leonard left the Spurs. Spurs literally disappeared. They're not a juggernaut they once was. Yep. He goes to Toronto. He takes down Golden State. Takes down KD. Gets KD out of Golden State. Then goes to the Clippers at the same time, screwing over the Lakers because they were withholding on their trade deal with the Pelicans to get Anthony Davis because they're withholding because that's what Kawhi wanted. Yep. So now Kawhi then goes to the Clippers and then gets OKC to trade them Paul George.
Literally blew the whole team.
This man blew up 4 teams in the West. 4 teams he blew up in the West. He is a mastermind. Yeah. And I really give him a lot of credit because NBA teams really do screw guys over sometimes. Yeah. And for an NBA player to be coming and giving their own medicine back to him, please, thank you. Because the Lakers have been long talked about ever since LeBron got there. of all this meddling bullshit, of them talking to players when they shouldn't be.
Right.
It's about time they got to dose their own medicine.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
It's like Kawhi Leonard heard that thing going down with Anthony Davis last year mid-year and was like, this is bullshit. Waited till this year and was like, I'm going to screw y'all over for that.
See, hey, like I said, he gets my praise because literally, I was like one of the people that was going to be blown as hell, like LeBron, KD, Kawhi on the same team. Like, that's overkill. Like, come on, man. Like, no one wants to see that type of thing. Draymond, Clay, and Steph are one thing because they all got drafted to that team. These are all players that got traded or free agency to that team. So it's like, I'm tired of the whole dynasty. I want a little bit of evenness in the West and the East also, but mostly the West. So for him to just be like, oh, yeah, I want to be a Laker. Hey, man. So, hey, Clippers, Jerry West. See what you can do about Paul George. Yeah, man. Like, LeBron, I want to play with you, dog. Like, don't worry about that, man. I got you. And then all of a sudden,
Paul George gets shipped.
I woke up that morning like, oh, man, he's signed with the Clippers. That's tight. Kept scrolling down my... Wait, what? Paul George traded... Wait, what? Like, yeah, so big ups to him. Shout out to you, Kawhi Leonard, for not being like the drone or the robot of the NBA.
Yep.
And doing whatever else does. Thank you for being your own man. Hope you get another ring.
Yeah, 100%. And the Clippers are now the team in LA, except I have to say this because when I looked at the Lakers squad after the Anthony Davis trade, the one thing I said was, all right, I don't see them as an immediate contender because I don't believe in Rajon Rondo. Rajon Rondo, he's a very good point guard. One of the best in the Boston Celtics have ever had. Very good point guard. But he just doesn't give me that kind of championship confidence in him. But if they were able to get CP3, which is what is rumored right now, it's possibly going to go down today or tomorrow. CP3 going to LA, I think that makes them an immediate contender in the West. I think they are going against the Warriors in the finals there if something crazy doesn't happen. But I would not be surprised to see the Clippers take them down. Kawhi Leonard, we can say now, is used to taking down juggernauts.
Yeah. I'm going to get a little hot take going on around these parts.
Woo! Give it to me.
I think that the Lakers are still going to be a lower bottom seed in the West, like 5 to 8 seed. Obviously, 8 seed makes it the last seed.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to be between 5 and 8 because, I mean, let's just look at the history behind it. CP3 has an injury of getting hurt and missing games throughout the season and playoffs. Anthony Davis, I can't even tell you the last time he played a whole, even 72-game season, like missing 10 games, injury prone. LeBron, up there in age. You're going to need load management. And then Kyle Kuzma, young up-and-coming player, good player. And then Boogie, coming off of 2 horrible injuries. Let's see if he can get back to 100% health. JaVale McGee. I mean, it's JaVale McGee.
It's JaVale McGee. He's a joke.
Like, come on.
The fact that that guy has a ring.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just like, I'm looking at it from the fact of injuries, load management, no bench, and just because I don't really like LeBron like that. I don't know. I want AD to get a ring, but
it begs the question. The question has to be asked. Well, as of right now, who's the best team in the NBA as a whole?
East and West?
Yeah, and you really have to contemplate that. You have to actually think about that now.
I would go Clippers just for the simple fact that they have the reigning MVP, Finals MVP on their team now. One of the top three players in the league, one of the best two-way players in the league. Paired him up with another top 10 player in the league, another one of the best two-way players in the league. And everyone forgets Paul George was MVP candidate
last year. Yeah,
before he got his shoulder injury.
You and I talked about that last year. I was like, it's weird that Paul George getting the MVP talk and not Russell Westbrook because that's weird. Because
Russell Westbrook was kind of deferring and letting him do his thing.
So Paul George is having an up-and-coming year last year.
Which again, if he can do that in the Rockets, then I can see them being a top 3 seed.
Now the X factor for the Clippers is if Patrick Beverley could play at an all-star level defensively, I will say 100% they are going to be shooing for
without a doubt. His defense will be top tier, like top in the league. It's just can he average 12 to 15 points a game?
Yeah.
If he can do that to add to the scoring between Kawhi, Paul George, I'm not even gonna get to their bench because they're gonna have by far the best bench in probably league history. Lou Williams, the reigning 6th man of the year, multiple years in a row. Montrezl Harrell, beast power forward coming off the bench. Who's the other bench players? They just got rid of Dellinari.
I'm not sure.
No, he's on the. He's got traded to the.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But again, he's another player who probably get bought out and shipped off to another team somewhere at some point, playoff contender. Maybe the Lakers. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I just see them being the Lake. I just see the Clippers as the top seed, the top team in the whole NBA right now.
Okay. I think the ignorant take, like somebody like me who watches the NBA but isn't invested enough to be able to look at people's benches and stuff like that. The ignorant take would sit here and say, I think it's the Lakers.
Yeah, without a doubt. Because you have two of the top 5 players in the league.
Right, absolutely. And that we can't say Toronto because Kawhi Leonard's gone. There's no way they're going to be able to withstand that.
Their best player might be Siakam at this point.
Right. And I will say, I do think there needs to be a small caveat and a small chance that the Bucks could possibly be that team.
Yeah.
And I really believe in the superstar aspect of it, and I really do believe in this guy.
No, it's just literally, if Giannis can take the step that he took last year, where he can get his post game up, get a little mid-range jumper going on. Defense is obviously, he's so long, he plays defense well. If he can get a 15 to 18 foot jump shot, maybe develop a little bit of a 3-point shot, then yes, they will be fighting for the number 1 spot between them and the Clippers because they re-signed Chris Middleton, great all-star player. Re-signed Brook Lopez, who's stretched his game out to like a good 3-point shooter now.
He's like one of those guys that you never think of as a really good big man,
exactly.
but he does all.
He does everything.
He does everything well.
He does everything well. So great solid player. Obviously, Eric Bledsoe coming back, great point guard. Their bench players are still legit. So it just depends on Giannis. If he can take another step up, because obviously last year's final. Eastern Conference Finals, the Claw locked him down, made him disappear, took the Bucks out of it like a snap of a finger. So, like I said, if Middleton can be that second role player to Giannis, and Brook Lopez can do it last year, but a little step higher, they might be up there, but nah. I think it's the Clippers still.
Now, I agree with you. And I think that makes a lot of sense because where the Clippers are really good at in bench, that's where the Lakers are kind of weak in. And so I think that's where the Clippers do have a leg up. So a lot of credit to you. I think you are right about that.
Look, adding CP3 will be good because that will move Rondo to the bench. So that'll give him a little stability on the bench coming off the bench. But again, you got Rondo and JaVale McGee coming off your bench. It's who's going to be the point scorer on that?
Right. All right, so let's transition to the NFL. Some breaking news has just came out. The owners have proposed a change in the schedule. This has been long talked about ever since the new CBA was agreed upon a couple years ago. They wanted an 18-game season. They just proposed this now. It's obviously going to be shot down. But let's talk about the pros and cons of what an 18-game season would do. What the pros, because the negatives I think are easy for you and I because we both know where we stand on this. But let's just play devil's advocate.
Right.
Okay? What are the pros for this? Extra revenue. More fans would put up more money to go see a regular season game than they would preseason.
More tickets.
Absolutely, 100% agree. Obviously, there are some preseason games that are useless.
Which I don't mind at all.
Right, I don't mind that at all. It's just the reason why I like the 18-game season is because it gives guys the ability to come back from injuries early on that they suffer in training camp or whatever have you. But it also gives us more football.
I was going to say, as a fan, as a player, I'd be like, 2 more games? Hell no. I'm like, no. Those extra 2 preseason games, that's why I get to sit out and rest. So, like, no. But as a fan, a football junkie, hell yeah, I want 2 more weeks of football. Like, you shitting me?
I absolutely I do. But I think that they're doing it in the wrong way.
Yeah, they're going the wrong way.
Because the NFL has been, ever since the new CBA agreement was approved, they have had shortened training camp. They've shortened how much practice they can do, what they do in practice, how much hitting they do in practice. That's where I think the time needs to be added. I don't think it needs to be added to the regular season. So here are the negatives. The regular season, being 18 games, you're going to have a lot more injuries.
Yep.
You're going to have a lot more terrible injuries, possibly career-threatening injuries.
Yep.
You're going to have possibly more guys being retired now because of being in so much more violent collisions, their body can't withstand it. Now, that being said, if you're going to expand it to 18 games, you better allow teams that have 60 to 70-man rosters.
Not only that, it would actually probably go in their favor as far as the owners and the league if they got rid of Thursday night football games and just stuck to Sunday and Monday night football games. That way, you get more time to recharge your body, refresh your body. Like you said, less injury because you're not playing 3 nights a week, or 3 games a week, whatever it is. You're not on TV 3 games a week, I should say.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because I heard the argument about it possibly being oversaturation by Craig Hoffman at 106.7. I don't believe that. I don't think an extra 2 weeks is going to be oversaturation. I think it's just extra 2 weeks of football.
Yeah, exactly.
Having Thursday night football is oversaturation.
Exactly.
That I 100% agree with because people are sitting here saying, I can still watch football Monday and Sunday. I don't really need to see this game tonight.
Exactly.
It's only the real football heads that want to watch Thursday.
And at the end of the day, when have you ever, out of the handful, out of all the Thursday night games of the past, let's say, 3 seasons, you can probably pick 3, maybe 4 that have actually been legit good Thursday night games. You know?
Now, another pro for an 18-game season is the gambling aspect. Yeah. A lot more people are going to gamble on a regular season game than they would a preseason game. I think that's common sense and something you can come up with your own. But that has nothing to do with the NFL. And the only problem, the problem the NFL has, which is a huge problem, is you have to negotiate with your employees.
Exactly. I was going to say the owners will get a cut of that gambling revenue, but it's about how much the player's going to get cut of the owner's cut after all that. So it's like give and take. Yeah,
and I don't think that the players... The one way I do see the 18-game season being approved, I don't want it. I don't think it should be approved. But if it would be... I think the NFL is going to make changes to marijuana testing.
Yep,
I think they're going to make changes if they can get Roger Goodell to stop being the judge, jury, and executioner. I think that can make it done. But that's why negotiations happen.
Yep.
And I think it will be bad for the NFL for 18 games, especially because the product is what matters. And yes, we'll get more of that product. But the problem is, the more of the product you have in the NFL, the less talent you're going to have on the field because it's 100% injury rate in the NFL. There is no going around that.
Yep.
It's 100% going to happen.
Yep.
So I don't believe it should happen, and I think it's laughable that the NFL would propose this now, before a year and a half before they're supposed to start actually negotiating the new CBA when they can actually propose this.
I mean, it's smart on their part to get the conversation started now, but again, DeMaurice Smith and the NFLPA, I can see them shooting it down just at the snap of a finger. It'll never happen.
And this is obviously, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. DeMaurice Smith already has been telling players to prepare for a lockout agreement for the 2021 season because of the new CBA agreement that's going to be going on. Yeah. So they're getting ready. They're getting their gloves off. I don't think it's going to happen. We both think it's going to be a bad thing for the NFL. We see the pros.
Yeah.
It makes sense. It's just I feel for the guys. I know they're getting paid lots of money. It's just even though a guy's a millionaire, you don't want him to see him in a wheelchair at 60 years old.
Yeah, exactly. Or doing even something worse than that at 60 years old.
Yeah, just wandering in his underwear, looking for his newspaper at the neighbor's house. You don't want him to do that. You just don't want that to happen. But other news in the NFL, Redskins-wise, did you see the picture of Josh Norman jumping over that bull?
That dude's crazy.
Did you see the picture, though?
Yeah.
He cleared him by 2 feet.
Yeah, he got up there. He got up.
That dude's a baller right there. A lot of people are talking about, what do the Redskins think about this? First off, I don't care what the Redskins think.
And not only that, he's been doing stuff in the offseason his whole career, and I'm pretty sure he let the Redskins know, hey, I'm going to go jump over a bull.
Yeah.
He didn't just wake up one day and say, you know what? I'm going to go to Pamplona and go jump some bulls today. No. This has been a planned out thing. He's informed the team probably weeks ago.
Yeah, because, honestly, I remember Mike Shanahan told Devin Thomas, you can't go do this, you can't be in this music video that you want to be in because we're in training camp. We're getting ready for the regular season. You can't go do that. That makes sense.
Yeah, it's off-season
But
right now,
I don't think the Redskins have any sort of viable option to sit here and tell Josh Norman what he can and cannot do in his free time.
Exactly.
He can do whatever the hell he wants.
Exactly.
He can go to space if he wants, if he's back in time for training camp.
Knowing Josh Norman, he'd probably do something like that.
Yeah, he probably would, because earlier this year he was out flying in the speed craft.
Yep.
So he lives life on the edge. I'm really glad for him, for Josh Norman to be doing this, because it shows balls.
Yeah.
This dude jumped over a bull. Not many people can say that in their lives.
I see those ups and some picks this year, motherfucker.
Yeah, I want to see some people actually put some balls on and go travel to fucking Spain to go run with the Bulls. That's hard to do.
Man, don't look at me. I ain't doing that shit.
I'm scared just thinking about it, dude. I was scared for Josh Norman. I was nervous. But in all honesty, good for Josh, and I really don't care what the Redskins think.
Yeah,
I think that they should go kick rocks because I'm sure Josh Norman thinks that Bruce Allen shouldn't fire people for drinking, but his opinion doesn't matter.
Yep.
So Josh Norman doesn't care what the Redskins think, and neither do I.
Yep.
Be quite frank with you.
I'm right there with you, brother.
I think so at all. But some developing things going on in the NFL is Sean Payton had made a comment earlier today saying a lot more coaches were going to be judicious with the replays. And it kind of like threw me for a loop a little bit when he said that, because I was like, judicious? Why are you, like, shouldn't you already be judicious about challenge flags? Like, why would the replay make a difference with that? I didn't really understand what he was meaning by that.
Right.
Because I feel like that's just common sense. Like, oh yeah, I have to do a replay for this? Yeah, make sure to know what the hell is going on.
Exactly, yeah.
Doesn't make any sense for Sean Payton to say that, but I'm glad that they made this transition, because what happened to the Rams, to the Saints in that Rams game in the NFC Championship should never happen again.
Yeah.
And I think they're 100% right. I think it should come down to that coach's challenge, and they should be able to change that.
Yeah, what I don't agree with is you can challenge, like, pass interference now. Like, that's so stupid to me. Like, they're talking about pace of the game and, like, blah, blah, blah. This is about to make every game so much slower, because they're going to be like, was that pass interference? Go look at it. Go review it. Was that pass interference? Go look at it. Go review it. Like, to me,
so, like, but
it's a judgment call, too.
Right.
So it's like,
so that's where I come into this, where it's like, whenever you slow down a video, things look worse than they were.
Exactly.
And so when you have a replay going in and looking at a play over and over and over again, you see him rub the shoulder of the wide receiver in slow motion, that's going to look a lot worse than it would be in fast-paced kind of situation. So I feel like a lot of pass interference calls are going to be approved when they shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's really going to change the game.
I just feel like the NFL reacted to a play that's like once in a million.
Bitched.
Yeah, it's once in a million play. Like, you're never going to see something like that ever again happen.
The only reason this rule went through, honestly, is because literally the Saints were sending out a petition to replay the game. They threw a hissy fit, and look, I completely understand.
Look, if it was Redskins,
I'd be pissed.
Yeah, I wouldn't make a petition about it, but I'd be pissed.
Like. I'd be 100% pissed. It'd be bullshit. It'd be what a horrible way to get there and to have that happen
Especially
to you.
After the Minnesota Miracle year before that, it's like.
But the fact being is, are you going to literally ruin your product for years in the future because of one really bad call?
Exactly.
And that's where I think the league has a good thing, and too many changes to a good thing can change it to a negative.
It's like our fantasy league.
Yeah.
We got it to the point where we tweaked everything. It's like perfect now. Now people want to come in and, let's change this, let's change that. No, it's already perfect. Leave it as it is.
It's been fine the way it is, and pass interference is already a just a figure by itself, a mystery that nobody knows how to solve, because nobody knows what pass interference is. And now we're going to be able to have replay to determine if there's pass interference. Now we're talking about just normal nonchalant things like what is pass interference.
I'm saying you're taking away that judgment call, then making it not even a judgment call anymore.
Before you allow pass interference to be reviewed, you should legitimately have a concrete evidence and definition of what pass interference is. I was going to
say, if they're going to do it this way, they should have made a legit definition of this is what pass interference is. Blah, 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 blah. Give it to the referees and the teams and be like, this is what to look for. This is the definition of it. And then, boom, now you can replay the pass interference plays. But just to be like, we got to overreact and we're going to review every single pass interference play and blah. It's like, no. And I guarantee none of them are going to go in the Redskins' favor, so I don't want to see it anyway.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I really do believe the pass interference should be cut and dry. If your feet leave the ground, you catch the ball. When you're coming to the ground, you have to maintain possession. I don't think that's a crazy thing to ask.
Right.
If you catch the ball while moving and you go to the ground, that is a fumble. Automatically, fumble. Now, if this happens in the end zone, touchdown.
Right.
Easy, simple as can be. If you catch the ball in the air in the end zone, you go to the ground and you drop it, incomplete pass.
Yeah.
That's the way it should be, cut and dry. That. I don't know why it's so difficult for the NFL to come out with this definition. It blows my mind.
It's the fans, man. The fans complain and bitch and moan and petition.
Well, it doesn't help that you have half of the NFL and Cowboys Nation fucking yelling at everyone, saying Dez caught it when he didn't.
Yeah. That's what really started this whole, like...
That's where it all started.
Yep.
All started was because of Dez.
Fucking Cowboys, man.
Well, Dez can never hold on to the ball anyway.
Right.
So what are you surprised about? You should be like, just, it should be normal to you that Dez dropped the ball.
Exactly, like...
Nothing more embarrassing. I training camp video of Dez trying to catch it on the jug machine. This man had 2 hands trying to catch a jug machine. Oh, it's 60 miles an hour, man. Give him a break. Get the hell out. Trey Quinn is out there catching balls with 1 hand. That guy's 5'9".
Son, my man, who was it? I forget who it was. They started off in a distance and just kept getting closer and closer and closer and closer till they were right in front of the machine. Just bloop, bloop, 1 hand, 1 hand, 1 hand. This man Dez was 20 feet away and like Jesus. Rock hands.
Rock hands. I always say that to people. People are like, oh, you should go get Dez. No, the Redskins should sign Dez. No. Look, I know we
maybe
suck
if it was
at
like 2015 Dez.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Not 2018 Dez.
Because his speed back in the day could bail him out of his bad hands.
Exactly.
He doesn't have speed anymore. I can tell you that
now. Yeah, he got even worse hands now, so nah.
No, it's even worse, I can tell you that. But look, I like that the NFL is trying to make their product better.
Look, they're trying to appease to the fans, so I get that.
They're trying to make the product better, but at the same time, as fans, we're idiots. We're morons. We don't know what the hell we're talking about. And when you try to... It's what Dan Snyder has done with the Redskins. It's a known fact that Dan Snyder would leak out information to the press to see how fans would react to that move, to see if he should make it. When you did that, what happened to the football team? It was horrible. The football team decimated. They were not good. They weren't built. The structure was terrible, and they fell apart. In the NFL, if you're appeasing the fans, same thing is going to happen. Your structure is going to fall apart, and your product is going to evaporate. And that's what I'm scared of with the NFL. The kickoff rule, I don't really understand. I don't get that 100%. I think it's stupid. If they try to change that, just stop trying to make changes.
Yeah, just keep it as it is. It's been a great sport for... over 100 years, I think it's been now. Mm-hmm. Leave it alone. Just don't stop tweaking it.
Now, if you do tweak something, I do 100% believe in changing out the helmets for straight up just leather helmets again. With no face mask. Nobody's going to be leading with their head anymore. I can guarantee you that.
That's true.
No one's going to be leading with their helmet anymore. And if you're really worried about head collisions, that's what you do. 100%.
That would be crazy.
It's just like, I don't know, it's just like a human thing where if you give the human the protection, like if you give a human a car that is indestructible, that will not crash, you won't die in this car. You're going to drive 200 miles an hour every time you can. So when they tell you have a helmet on, you're protected, you're going to go 100,000 miles an hour at something. But if you don't have that protection on your head, are you going to go that same speed?
You don't think twice about it.
You're going to think twice, and you're going to actually tackle with your body like you're supposed to, like you're taught. That's how it's supposed to be done. I feel like that is something that needs to be changed.
Yeah.
A lot of credit to Sonny Jurgensen. That's who I first heard say it. In his crazed, drunken state calling a Redskins game, I heard him say that one time, and I was like, holy crap, you're right. He's 100% right about that.
Yeah.
Natural selection, my friend.
That would be a sight to see. I wouldn't mind seeing that, to be honest with you.
I wouldn't mind to see the XFLs kind of adapt that.
Yeah, that'd be kind of tight.
To be able to say, I'm going to prolong the players' careers and their lives, their health, all of it, and make the product better, I think they should do
Problem is, there's still going to be a bunch of idiots out there going to leave with their fucking heads and get neck injuries and concussions and probably die on the field, break their necks. So, yeah.
My point being is...
everyone's bigger and faster, stronger nowadays.
My point being is, that's already happening.
That's true.
So it's not like that's a crazy thing.
Yeah,
It's natural selection. I think that would force guys to play a certain way. Because, dude, I played with guys in high school whose face masks at the end of the season were dented in. And that's because they're leading with their face. They're not supposed to be doing that. It's not how you're supposed to be going towards a ball carrier. You're not supposed to be hitting a helmet like this.
Right.
The helmet is just supposed to protect you from the ground and players' knees.
Exactly.
It's not supposed to be used as a battering ram when you're trying to take down somebody. It's horrible for the game, and it's bad for humans.
Yeah.
And obviously, we're getting to the extreme here.
So you want to drive ratings down, have a bunch of people leaving with their heads and getting neck injuries on the field.
Yeah, and And the funny thing about this is, I think about this with life all the time, especially with our country. But when you have such an extreme, like, you know, the product level of the NFL back in the 50s and 60s, a bunch of white dudes running around was here, right? That's the speed, size, strength, everything. You know, it continued to develop and develop. The NFL now is almost here. I mean, it's almost at the top of the top. You have the fastest of the, like, you can't get much faster than what the guys are running now, or the guys are pushing now. These are legitimate top-of-the-line guys. And when you have that, you're going to have a lot of, like, if you're driving a car and you're putting it into max RPMs, you're going to have problems with your engine.
Right.
Over a long period of time, you're going to have problems with your engine. And that's what the Redskins are running, that's what the NFL's running into, in my opinion.
The Redskins too. But yeah.
Right. That's what the NFL's running into, is that their product, the speed, the strength is all so big that it's creating a massive collision, and you're having to deal with these problems. Right. So you have to come up with a solution to try to minimize this problem. And I think the leather helmet is the way to do that. To be as crazy as that is to go back in the past, I think that's, if you really want to stop guys from doing it, that's the way. Because look, how many, when we play pickup football, we play turkey ball. How many concussions do you get? Have you seen guys leaving the field with concussions?
No.
You don't, because guys tackle with their body when they're out there. They're not out there leading with their goddamn helmet.
Yeah, that's true.
And the only time I have seen people leave with a catastrophic, horrible injury from turkey ball was when one asshole was running 150 miles an hour harder than everyone, leading with his goddamn head. Yeah. That is the only time I've seen it. Yeah. So I think that's where, if the NFL is going to change, I think that's the route that they should go.
We should actually email the league or Roger Goodell and be like, hey, we propose this. See what happens.
It's going to be laughed at because, it's such a crazy thought to go back in the past.
10 years from now, they're actually going to do it. We're going to be like, what the fuck?
Right. Well, we should copyright that shit and send it to them. Like, you can't detail it. Like, the XFL might actually. We should send it to fucking McMahon.
Shit. McMahon would be all for that.
Yeah, McMahon would be all for that.
Bit season.
And honestly, NFL players might be for that, because there has been, I've heard players in the past talk about how the public exposure of the NFL is kind of hard for players because of how many players there are. But because their faces are covered during the games, a lot of people see them. Basketball, baseball, their faces aren't covered, so people see them out in public more. Right. If you go to leather helmets, people are going to know what they look like. Yeah. So when they go out, it's going to help them in that kind of case. Yeah. Obviously, it's trivial. It doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, but I think the players would also be for that in a way.
Yeah. More marketing opportunities out there. Yeah.
And I just think it's smart for the NFL to honestly do that, because I've always said, I would love to be able to play pickup games with guys without helmets, but with shoulder pads and knee pads, because obviously that's all you really need. And I think that would be a lot of fun. And
if you think about it, also, I mean, obviously we don't have the data or know anything about this, but was there any major injuries back in the leather helmet days? That I've never heard of any crazy major injuries back then. I mean, like you said,
well, that
faster, stronger, and all that shit now.
But look, this is another life and human thing, but. A person like me, who is not fast, who can't jump high, doesn't have crazy, I'm not strong, I don't get injured. That's just the way my body is, because I'm not running at a high speed or anything.
That's true.
So when you're talking about these guys that are running as fast as they are, they're more liable for injury.
You're not putting all the stress on your body.
Exactly. And so that's how the NFL has kind of moved itself, because that's why you have older people saying, back in my day, these guys were playing, they were playing with bum ankles and knees and heels, and they're running out there and they're still playing. These dudes get turf toe and they can't play for months. That's why you had those guys saying that, because back in the day, those guys weren't the same athletes. They weren't going to the same speed as those were. And so when you had that kind of, for example, let's go back to a car. If you have a stock car, your car is probably going to, you take care of it, your car's going to last a while. But if you're taking stock car, you put a turbo in it, you put an exhaust system on, you put a new clutch in it, and you're revving it up all the goddamn time, you're going as fast as you can with it, you're going to have problems with your car. Yeah. It's 100% fact. That's where it goes into it. That's the NFL you're seeing now. It's a souped up car that's going fast as hell, and it's strong as shit, and it's running into anything it can.
Yep.
And that's what's basically happening to the NFL and its players.
It's actually a pretty good analogy. Pretty good.
I actually have terrible analogies. Katie and all my friends tell me I'm terrible at it. Well, I'm
glad
glad I got one.
One of the good ones there.
Right. A broken clock is right twice a day, right?
Yes, sir.
Jesus Christ. But yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. I mean, is there anything else going on that you could think of? I can't.
Nah, Nats is out here balling still. They got a game tonight, 6:05 against The Phillies.
I forgot to talk about the Nats.
Phillies.
We forgot to talk about the Nats. The Nats are holding the wild card spot, everybody.
Yep, they're 6 back of the first place seed in the NL East right now.
And I will say, I was actually thinking about this on the way here, and I want to run this by you. Sports is a weird entity, right? Like, things that happen in sports don't normally happen in real life, like, like the Cinderella story,
right.
The Saints after Hurricane Katrina winning the Super Bowl. Sports kind of has that kind of mentality with it. The national season, I think, is very comparable to when the Caps won the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, first half of the season was.
They were talking about they were talking about getting rid of Bruce. They were talking about firing Bruce. They were not Bruce. God damn it!
I think he's been gone for so long. I can't remember his name.
It's only been a year too. It's so messed up. What is his goddamn name? I can't believe this. We call ourselves DC Sports.
It starts with a B. You already got the B part right.
I know. I can't think of it right now. But the talk was getting rid of him early on in the season.
Yeah.
They turned it on by the middle of the season. They kind of got back to where even about around where they're supposed to be, and then they exploded in the second half and actually won the division and made it to the playoffs. I see a lot of similarities there with the Nationals.
I could definitely see them jumping in if they keep playing the way they are. I could definitely see them potentially battling the Braves for that first seed. Definitely keeping the first wild card spot locked down. But yeah, I mean they've been playing at like Hoffman said earlier, when you have three of the best pitchers, like starting pitchers in the league, you should be winning games at a 60% clip. Like those every 3 days or those 3 games. Those pitchers pitch, there should be W's in the column. Yeah. So if you keep winning at a 60% clip, that should put you about, what are they, 47, 42 right now?
Mm-hmm. I think they're 5 games up.
Yeah, that would put them at about 82, 83 wins, which is around where they were predicted at anyway before the season. So, yeah. I forget where I was going with this, honestly.
What?
I forget where I was going with this, honestly.
What reason? I wasn't even paying. I'm trying to look up what his.
I forget what I was even like.
Barry Trotz.
Barry Trotz.
God bless America. Why was that so hard?
I don't know why. I was like, Bourdain? No,
I guess it's been so long since the Caps played. Yeah. It's just been out of our mind. But sorry guys. Sorry about that. But the reason being is the reason why I was talking about Cinderella stories is that the kind of makeup and the formula to win a championship in DC. The Caps showed you, and it's almost like the Nats are almost kind of following in those footsteps. It's very comparable. Yeah. It's almost the exact same.
Nah, you're exactly right. Like this is what I was gonna go with my weird statement before. I was gonna say if they keep winning at a 60% clip, that'll put them about 83, 84, and they have. I think it was like a good chunk of the games they're against the Braves still, which is what they need to like jump them to first place.
They play them 13 times next month.
Exactly. So, say you win half those games, that jumps you up. But then
But that also.
Yeah, no.
Because 13 games, half those games would be 6, so then you'd be evening yourself out.
I mean, not halfway. If you win at
you know what I mean?
If you win 80% of those games, and then the Braves hit a little skid here and there, which
you're almost matched up there.
Pretty much matched up. Yeah. And then coming to September, you have a dogfight the last couple of weeks of the season, which would be great for the area.
See, but the problem with the Nats is, for me, is yes, they've gotten back.
They've also been playing little, like, crappy teams. Like,
exactly, that's my point, is they've been playing lower-level teams that don't have great pitching. And the reason why I put this caveat in there for the Nats, especially in crunch time, in October, in the playoffs, whenever they go against a good pitcher, they get shut out. Yep. The hits don't come, the runs don't come. Max Scherzer, as great as he is, the best pitcher in the goddamn league right now, I'll say that to this day with confidence.
100% confidence.
But he gives up 1 or 2 runs, home runs.
I was going to say, he's good for at least a home run a game.
Right, and it's early on generally. It's very early on, and then he just literally throws out 13 strikeouts and nobody cares about the home run. But the fact being is, in those crunch times against those good teams with good pitchers, you need Max to be able to get you through the entire game without giving up runs because I don't trust the offense. Yeah. Whenever they go against good pitchers, they literally just cower into their shells like a hermit crab, and they cower in and they don't get any hits. Right. That's what scares me about this Nats team.
Hey, I mean, that was them in the beginning of the season. I mean, Max Scherzer was coming out 10 Ks a game, and they literally could 1 hit a game, 2 hits a game, giving up like one run at that.
Yeah, and the stretch that they went on before this All-Star break, they were going against teams with bad pitching, so the offense was propelling them all the way over, so they didn't have to worry.
I'm just hoping that facing all these bad teams, getting all these hits, producing like 5-6 runs a game, is going to give them confidence going forward and momentum going forward. So when they do face good pitching, it's not just, oh man, we're facing a good pitcher today, like blah, blah, blah. It'll be, oh, we're facing a good pitcher today? I got confidence. Smack it out the park. Right. Get a hit.
I hope they take that mindset. It's just the past tells me it's not going to happen. Right. And that's what I'm worried about. And because with these past teams, is they were able to hit. So the balls were just going out of the park. They didn't have to worry about the pitching. They didn't have to worry about who they were going against. They knew that they could do whatever the hell they wanted offensively. They were going to be fine.
Right.
I think that extra pressure on Max is going to give up a home run or two leading down the road. And these teams that they're going to face, the Dodgers, the Braves, those teams are going to destroy the Nats if the bats don't come. Because the Phillies go actually to the Nats' weaknesses. Yeah. The Phillies don't have a very good bullpen. Their pitching sucks. Their offense is really good. So the Nationals have really good pitchers. They stifle their batters. The Nats can hit on their pitchers. So they're actually matched up really well with them. Yeah. It's the teams with good pitchers that scares the hell out of me. Because that's where I think everyone's going to start saying, oh, this team sucks. Man, they're not as good as we thought.
Typical old Nats.
They're not as good as we thought. No, it's just because they haven't gone against the quality pitching.
With that being said, yes or no, Nats in the playoffs this October?
I do think they're going to be in the playoffs. What scares me is if they're going to be able to get past them in the playoffs. Yeah. Because going against somebody like possibly the Dodgers, Clayton Kershaw, who literally is a Nats killer. Yeah. He won't give up a hit against the Nats. I'll tell you right now. Yeah. And that's just the way the Nats play against Clayton Kershaw.
It's like almost like they're like intimidated by him. It's like weird.
Yeah. And dude, it 100% exists in sports. A lot of times guys will tell you, mentally, I go into it knowing that guy's badass, so I give him the benefit of the doubt instead of going 100% and knowing I can beat him. Exactly. He beats me on nonchalant bullshit when I shouldn't be giving up.
Exactly.
And that's where I wish the Nationals would have that kind of mindset in October. But hopefully Davey...
I was going to say, maybe it might be a new year.
Davey hasn't had this team in the playoffs yet. Yeah. And maybe his mindset of being the lackadaisical, having fun, dancing into the dugout will carry over.
I love it.
I absolutely love it.
It's all about, look, sports is about having fun. When you're having fun, that means you're usually like doing well winning games. Yeah. So as long as they're having fun, they'll be winning games. As long as they're winning games, they'll be having fun. It's correlation. Yeah.
And I absolutely love the fact that Davey said, look, you guys can celebrate all you want. Get naked. I don't care. Do whatever the hell you want, but do it in the dugout and not in front of the other team, not be disrespectful to the other team. That's what sports is about.
Man, Brian Dozer was in that jump twerking.
Yeah, he was twerking. You're right. Dude, I will say Victor Robles is the best dancer on that team. Yeah. That dude was getting the spin right. Yeah. But in all honesty, I love that because that's what sports is all about. It's being respectful to your opponent while winning and having fun. Yep. And that's what Davey Martinez is instilling into this team, and hopefully can carry over into playoffs. Yeah. In a professional level, hopefully that kind of mindset works.
Yeah, I mean, but it's been working so far.
Yeah, we'll see. Time will tell, my friend.
Like you said, it comes down to playoff crunch time. Can you get it done in the playoffs? They've been a regular season juggernaut for the past, 7-8 years now? Mm. So it's all about, can you get it done in the playoffs? Just like the Cap. Yeah. Can you get it done in the playoffs? And like you said before, it kind of has that similarity between the Cap season, and I do have this like weird tingle in my little belly that the Nats are going to obviously make the playoffs and just go on some miraculous run to either get to the World Series and, dare I say, even win it.
Look, I'm weird, and I've been thinking about there's a correlation between DC teams. Like, it's like almost like a gel. Like, you know how they say with women, there are estrogen links with one another. Like, if they're around each other a lot of times, they'll absorb each other's menstrual cycles and stuff like that. So I kind of have that same kind of mindset with DC sports teams because, in particular, in 2012, the Nats made the playoffs. I went to that Nats game in the playoffs against St. Louis, and they were up early, and they lost in dramatic and drastic and just demoralizing fashion.
I remember that.
The Redskins, 2012, they make it to the playoffs. They lose in the first round. They were up early. They lose. Yeah. An embarrassing and disaster came. Yeah. And that's how I view, like, I just felt like there was a correlation there.
I mean, shit, look at the Wizards. They get to the second round of the playoffs, lose to the Celtics in 7 games, and literally ain't been the same since.
Right. And so I feel like there is a correlation between DC teams. So that's why I feel like maybe this is when the Nats are going to, because Max Scherzer was hyped up for the Caps.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this man was injecting himself with fucking Caps fury, dude. He was ready to go. And I feel like he's trying to instill that. And I really hope that Max Scherzer can be the one to deliver a World Series here to Washington, because I would like to have a statue of him in DC.
Oh, if he can deliver a statue or a championship here, without a doubt, they'll put a statue.
Because I will say the
Maybe
one thing that DC professional sports, what they really do lack is kind of a godlike figure in the sports world.
Yep.
They don't really have that, you know, and they're missing that one.
Since the
character.
Hogs, there's never been that next guy.
And the Boss.
The Hogs.
Oh, the Hogs, yeah. But even like guys like Riggins came from New York. He won with the Jets, so it wasn't like he was a homegrown guy that was here. I understand Scherzer was in Detroit, but he has fully embraced DC.
I could probably say the last person that's been like a godlike figure like that, and probably still is Darryl Green. Like,
well, Darryl Green and RG3, you could say at first, but then at this,
I'm just talking about like
past.
Like past and like
Cal Ripken is one, but he's Baltimore. You can't really rep that as DC.
Exactly,
you know what I mean? And so even with the Bullets, you can't really. Can't really think of anybody.
Jawan Howard, Chris Webber, but they went on to do other things.
The Caps is all it is Ovi. Ovi's getting a statue.
Ovi.
Ovi's getting a statue, but I'm just saying, like, I guess I was thinking more of a past tense, but they kind of lack that kind of sports figure. And I feel like if they were able to win a championship, bring it home to DC for baseball, I think it would do a lot for baseball in this region.
Oh, without a doubt.
Because it is a football town. It is. I do think it is a very strong basketball town. It's just they haven't had the support from the team to be able to funnel that kind of.
And everyone was tired of Ernie Grunfeld. Yeah. Now he's gone, so it's a new era, new age. I think the Wizards fan will start. Yeah.
But that's why I mean, like, I think that if the Nats were to win this the World Series, I think they would take away and bring out that more of that sports kind of fan.
Also, you can kind of see it between like the Nats fans. If you look at the home games, I feel like the Nats fans are still kind of skeptical too. Like, it's like, are they really a legit team now? Like,
oh, that's how it is. That's how it is every single.
So like, I feel like if they like win this Philly series this weekend and keep it moving, keep it rolling, and get closer and closer to the top of the division, I think the stands will start filling up. The crowd will start getting into it more, and then we'll have that home field advantage going forward.
I 100% agree with you. And hopefully DC will get back to the prominent days where RFK was rocking. Yep. Those kind of confident, we love our DC sports, because honestly that does not exist today. That is gone. You and I, we are a minority in being strictly DC fans. There's not many of us that exist out there today.
Last of a dying breed.
It really is true. That is. That's what the name of the podcast should be. Last of the dying breed. Yeah, honestly. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. Again, like and share our page. Subscribe on iTunes and on Facebook and YouTube. We're on. It's going to be on YouTube, iTunes. You can download it anytime. Please like and share it.
It's been real, y'all. Thanks for listening and everything he just repeated. I'm not going to repeat it again. But I'm going to send this off, right? See y'all next week, or maybe Sunday, depending.
Yeah, Sunday.
See y'all Sunday.
So before we cap off here, Mike Reed, we might be doing recording another episode on Sunday. We're gonna just talk about just anything and everything, not just sports. So please come and like that post as well, and keep your eyes peeled, because we are going to be releasing a hot episode.
Countdown to training camp is
55 days.
Nah, training camp.
No, 58 days. Yesterday was London Fletcher Day. It was 59. So 58 days till training camp, or till regular season.
Training camp is 12 days away.
Yes,
12 days away.
I can't wait.
Woo!
Because you know why? Redskins football. Woo!
Woo! Woo!